Yo, what up? It's Casper. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about the movie Precious. Precious is a 2009 movie. It's rated R and it's an hour and 50 minutes. Directed by Lee Daniels. The movie is about a teenager named Clarice Precious Jones. The year 1987. We're in Harlem, New York City. She goes by Precious. So the movie is about Precious, who she's not the smartest person just because of her upbringing. She is overweight. She's pregnant. The way she's pregnant at being a teenager is really insane because she's dealing with a lot of abuse in her house. This is the second time she's been pregnant, and she's pregnant again by her own father. In the movie, she doesn't see her father as much, but you see flashbacks of like the interactions that they did have. Her first daughter has Down syndrome, and now she's in school pregnant with her second child. We're seeing the lifestyle, her relationship with her mom, because she still lives with her mom. Her mom's name is Mary. Does nothing but stay in the house, but smoke, watch TV, and just literally just become a couch potato. She collects welfare checks through fraud, so she actually like manipulates people from the welfare place basically for her to have bread. The mom does nothing in Precious's life to educate her and prepare her for the real world. In this movie, you see nothing but abuse from Precious's mom, cursing, anger, violence, and it's crazy that this teenager is taking it all and has a lot of patience. So you see a lot of Precious characteristics on how she deals with this. She ends up getting kicked out of her school that she's originally at, ends up going to an alternative school. She ends up meeting way more nicer people at this alternative school, and what I mean by nicer people is the teacher. The teacher, her name is Miss Blue Rain, ends up seeing that Precious is in a very deep hole. Throughout this movie, you're seeing the transition, Precious meeting new people and Precious being challenged in her life. Finally, Miss Blue Rain is trying to convince Precious that she's way smarter than she is. Precious always doubting herself and saying a lot of negative stuff about herself. Throughout this process, we see how Precious learns how to write better, read better, and you see how much of a daydreamer Precious is. Despite all these challenges, Precious and Miss Blue Rain end up building a connection through the scenarios Precious ends up dealing with that she tries to hide from the teacher. You're seeing the lifestyle of Precious in a very tough time, 1987, Harlem, New York City. Talk about the character Precious, played by Gabourey Sidibe. Her performance was something that really surprised me and shocked me throughout. She really did have an innocent look. Her lines were great. The vibe and feel of being in that grimy environment felt very realistic. I think all the scenarios they put her in here were very believable. She was able to put out a lot of characteristics, facial expression to know that she's really going through it. Really enjoyed the writing for her throughout the movie. You're seeing a slow build-up. She's never smiling throughout the movie. When she smiles, you can catch it right away. Slow build up to seeing that happiness is actually approaching her life. This movie is very, very graphic with her character. Does feel like it is at a rated R level. Very disgusting and terrible that, you know, this is something that people have gone through. That whole vibe you felt with her character. The relationship with the mom, very insane as well. The connection right away felt like it was one of those things that the mom did disown her own daughter. Brutal to watch. The fact that the mom really didn't care. She would literally hit Precious with anything that she can and used her environment for sure. The movie did good on progression, on showing, okay, in this scene we're going to see what they deal with during dinner. In this scene we're going to see what they deal with at night. This scene is going to show what they do in the morning and what they're going to do before their day starts. So there's a lot of good scenario moments in this movie to show the progression. So it wasn't something that we always showed up to the same thing. When we did show up to the same thing, there was always something different. You would see how Precious would cook for her mom. You would see Precious in the morning get ready for school and see what they do in that moment. That's one thing I liked about it as well, is that we didn't always show up to the house and see them eat every time. So it's really cool to see that Precious, whenever she went back to the same scenarios, it was something different that we can see that she did. Precious, played by Gabourey Sidibe, really strong acting. Her acting did connect, and her acting did and will reach out to whoever watches this movie. So very tough performance. Enjoyed her performance for sure. The mom Mary is played by Monique. Shocker as well, but on a shocker like, where did this come from? Characteristics very very grimy. This lady would do anything to scam, be a two-face. The way Monique's acting was in this movie reminded me when I grew up as a child and I had those very loud neighbors. The mom will be yelling on a Saturday morning at her kids and I'll be hearing it from my house. I'll be like, damn, what's going on over there? So that vibe I felt with Monique, just like yelling, low life type of mom. Performance was mad wild, mad grimy. Just watch out with her performance because out of nowhere, cursing with the fakeness, you get a lot of brutal stuff to her own daughter. The performance was one of those things that made the whole movie flow really well. She ended up winning an Oscar for Best Actress in a Supporting Role. Well deserved on that, and one of those things I was like, yo, good job. The lines for her, very top tier. Miss Rain, she's the teacher. I loved her performance. Her whole look gave me that Eras vibe, clean feel, teacher vibe that definitely there to teach, definitely knows what she's dealing with. Really enjoyed her connection with all the classmates, enjoyed the fact that each one had a different personality, each one's going through their own personal struggle. Good job on making each one different. You know that person is louder than the other. Miss Rain was really cool. I really enjoyed her acting in this movie. She's played by Paula Patton. Whole vibe seemed very believable to the point where you knew Precious needs to listen to this teacher, really doing her best to know who Precious is. Paula Patton was a very cool character, good acting by her, and an enjoyable one as well. Mariah Carey's in the movie. She plays Miss Wise. She's one of those people at the welfare offices. Mariah Carey, at this time, to see her acting at that time, I was just looking at it and I'm like, you can definitely tell there's a wig. I wish they did a little bit more with her moving around rather than her just being in her little cubicle. The only time she really moves is getting a soda in the movie and then coming back to her seat. The thing with her character I would want to add is maybe walk around with Precious to see more on how she's really trying to figure out Precious's life. Overall, the look was good, the lines and the acting was believable. If you can add a couple things, you know, just move her around a little bit more. It's a brutal story. Stories like this definitely go unheard of. Stories like this do get brushed under the rug a lot. Movies like this are really putting awareness to people who don't know about scenarios like this. The camera direction was something that was interesting. You do see a couple edits with the camera direction. You do see edits with the film progression on how people are walking. Edits in this movie when Precious is having like dreams and daydreaming. I did enjoy that moment. Camera direction did keep my attention. The acting was definitely on top of its game in here, and the writing was crazy. The soundtrack was pretty good. It did add to this movie vibe. Overall, this is a movie I feel like you should watch if you haven't watched it. After my watching the movie Precious out of 10, I'm gonna have to give the movie a 9 out of 10. So that's my movie review for the movie Precious. Shout out to you guys for tuning into the video. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, y'all.